You're listening to the Next 15 Podcast Show with Trey North right here on Spreaker.com. Welcome to the Next 15 Podcast Show. This is your host, Trey North, with my guest co-host, Chris McAllister. What's going on, my man?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Well, we have another exciting episode. Family matters. Communication is the key is our topic. But before we go there, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for 1,000 downloads. A milestone on my birthday, which I celebrated 48 years.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, bro. 48 years. Yeah, man, the big 48, almost at the 50, at the hill mark.
You're halfway there, bro.
Bro, I'm halfway there, man, and I just really want to I'm just so excited. I know 1,000 downloads might not sound a lot to somebody else in the podcast business, but this is a great milestone, and I got it from loyal listeners and even new listeners that I posted on my Facebook. I didn't want anything for my birthday. So all I said is, hey, look, if you want to make this day special for me, then just go to my website, listen to at least one show, and because I'm trying to get 1,000 downloads on my birthday. And everybody, I thank you so much for coming through. Nice. Actually, over 1,000. I think I finished out that day with about 1,022, 1,024. Wow. So yeah, a milestone for a little petty podcaster such as myself with 18 downloads. Well, 18 episodes. So yes, sir. Yeah, man, a special shout out to Andrea Clark and Jacqueline Hammett and Renee Anders from St. Augustine, Texas. I went to school with Renee. She was very encouraging, had some encouraging things to say, and she just fell in love with the podcast. She started binging them all. Yeah, man, and she was sharing them in the on her page, and I really appreciate that. And I would like to also say, if you enjoy the podcast and you're a loyal listener or you're a new listener for the first time, if you really like what we're doing here, then share it with somebody. That's the best way to get it out there. Word of mouth is the best way to get it out there. The best form of advertising there ever has been, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So just a shout out to them, and not last but not least, my mom, Stella B. North, for her encouraging words. Yeah, she's trying to make me cry, man.
Hey, Mom.
Trying to make me cry, She said some really nice things, and I appreciate your mom. I love you for that. And she has her new blog on the website. Right. That's doing really well. My mom, man, I love her blogs. They're so inspirational.
They are.
And they're really helping me, and I know encouraging others as well. The feedback is phenomenal. Yeah, man. What's going on with you, man?
Man, you know what? A lot's going on right now, man. Again, you have with everything that's going on right now across the world, nothing new with the COVID-19, coronavirus, man. But with the church and doing the stuff via online, actually, I thought there was going to be a little bit more of a downtime. It actually is picked up for me in regards to that. But I mean, I'm loving it every minute of it, man. And and really is. Spending more time with the family, honestly. So as we're, working and then getting off of work and going straight home, trying to be, how can I say it? Trying to be kind of clean, if you will, and not touch a whole lot of stuff.
Extra careful.
Yeah, I guess. I'm not going to lie and say I've been extra careful because I haven't. Yeah. But literally, man, trying to spend more time with the family. I forgot how funny my family is with being at the house, man. We just been cracking jokes and talking about each other, and that's how we operate. That's how we say we love each other in the McAllister household, man. So that's kind of what's been going on in my world, man. What about you, other than turning 48?
Man, that's it, bro. That's really it, man. I mean, just focusing on this podcasting. Again, amazing feedback from some of my podcasting peers. Giving me some great feedback. Just this last month. Yeah. Over 700 downloads within the last month. Wow. It's big for me. I started this last year, and then I had a hiatus. Some personal things is going on, so I had to refocus, revamp, reposition myself, relocate myself, and then get back established in it. And since the beginning of the year in January, I mean, the podcast, the downloads have picked up, man.
Yeah.
Amazing support from everyone that are listening, the fans and everything like that. So I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah. And I will say, what I've noticed, man, you've gotten a lot of range in listeners, man. There's a lady that I know who had contacted me, man, and my wife to let us know that she's been listening to the podcast and she loves it. And I mean, she's in her, 80s at this point.
Are you serious?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
I was like, how do you know how to download a podcast? But hey, you know what? And she's been, like I said, she's been binge listening to the podcast, and she loves every minute of it.
Wow.
She says she thinks that we are hilarious, and she loves the topics that we've been talking about.
What's her name? You have a name?
So Miss Alice Price.
Miss Alice Price.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. 80 years old.
Yeah.
And listening to the podcast.
Absolutely.
Oh, man, that's amazing. Thank you so much for your support, Miss Price. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, listen, man. Great topic today. Might be deep. I don't know. Depends on the way, how we do.
Oh, yeah.
We go deep and then we make some funny jokes. But 2-part parenting series we're going to try to do. Hopefully we'll get the women. It's just us guys today, ladies. So I know you guys going to have some opinions and all of that. And I don't have a problem if you want to email me after this podcast with your own opinions and thoughts. You can do so at next15podcast@gmail.com. And just give me some of your feedback. But today's podcast is part 1 of Family Matters. Communication is the key.
Yep.
And we're gonna get right back into that. But before we do that, we're gonna go into a commercial break, and we'll come back and talk about this awesome topic.
Yes, sir.
This is Trey North. We'll see you on the next 15 after this commercial. Hey, did you know that you can now listen to the Next 15 podcast show with Trey North on Spreaker, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube? That's right. Catch up on previous episodes on your favorite music platform, and don't forget to subscribe to the all-new website by going to www.next15podcast.com. When you subscribe, you get VIP access to upcoming live events, news about upcoming episodes, and other information before anyone else. Head over to www.next15podcast.com right now and subscribe today. All right, we're back with Next 15 Podcast Show with my guest co-host, Chris McAllister.
Hey, what's going on?
Yes, sir. On this Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
The weather is nice. Here in Austin, Texas.
Nice.
You were talking about, and how fitting for this episode is, because you were talking about this, and I know we mentioned last episode about spending time with family with this COVID-19, how now we're able to be at home and hang out with the family and spend a lot of time. So this episode is basically about that, about communication with the family. Yeah. And so we're going to just discuss maybe how important it is, well, not maybe, but we are going to discuss how important it is to communicate with our children, but how to effectively communicate with them. How when we discuss things, how our tone will set the stage. Right. For them being able to hold their attention, just for them to listen, especially the first few minutes, because, our tone can either gain or lose them, how we come at them, whether it's a situation where we're chastising them or just even having a heart-to-heart talk to them, man. Sometimes our tone can shift the whole atmosphere, and lose their trust in very delicate situations or what could be delicate situations. So, man, before we do that, I started doing some research about communication. Okay. And before we could even get to that point, and all of this is going to basically encompass communication. Yeah. But I learned that there's some multiple parenting styles. Yes. I learned that there's 3 parenting styles. Okay. You have one that's authoritarian. You have one that's permissive. And then you have one, the authoritative parenting. Uh-huh. So those 3, the authoritarian, authoritative, and the permissive parenting. Yeah. And what I want to talk about right now is the first one, the authoritarian parenting. What I learned about this is these are most they're the strict ones.
Yeah.
They're the strict. The discipline style is real strict. Little to none negotiation.
Yeah.
The punishment is common.
Yeah.
It's mostly, the communication is mostly one way from parent to child. What else? What else did I learn? Usually parents with this type of style are typically less nurturing.
Gotcha.
The expectations are kind of high with a little bit limited flexibility.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that, the authoritarian, because I can relate personally on that.
Yeah, I can relate personally from, to be very honest with you, from a child and as an adult. I came out of a household, hey, mom and dad, by the way, but I came out of a household that, my dad wasn't really authoritative. He wasn't a, happy-go-lucky, but my mom was an individual that would literally, that she always says, I don't have to explain myself to no child, and so it was do as I tell you to do, and there was nothing else that you was going to, your opinion don't matter for the most part. Even as we got older, and I got into my, I kind of understood that as a little kid, but even as I got older and as, 18, thinking that, I'm kind of grown, got my own job and stuff like that, still was no negotiating, if she said, if she said something, that's what it was, bro. If you don't like it, you don't like it,
Don't let the door not hit you where the good Lord split you.
Absolutely, man. And so my mom, love her to death. And some of that is good. I'm not going to lie to you, in my opinion, but I found out as I got, got married, have children, and I found out that I had a lot of that in me because that's what I came from. And so I did the same thing. And so my mom came from, she came from, raising boys. Yeah. And so I came into a situation where I had, 3 girls and 1 boy. Yeah. And so I came in kind of with that sledgehammer, like, hey, you know what, if you don't like it, you can leave, and like, she's 3, she can't go there.
It's like she can't pack her bags. She's just got potty trained.
Right. And so, but yeah, I had a little bit of that, or I'm not gonna lie to you. I had a lot of that in the earlier stages, man, of just being, authoritative, man.
Yeah.
And, hey babe, I'm going to kind of tell on my wife. She still got a little bit of that, well, hey, if you don't, our children are now older, but there's not a whole lot of negotiating in my house. I'm just going to be very honest with you. Is it a dictatorship? Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So both of you guys are the authoritarian type. Those are the same styles.
Well, no,
that you guys have.
No, not for me that much. I go into that role when I have to.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, there are certain situations
you put on that role when necessary.
When necessary.
I got you.
But
okay.
but I have now, because I think with my girls, they have tugged on my heartstrings over the years, man, and it's just like, it's hard for me to just come down. Now my son, different world, but my girls, I can't come down on them as hard as I come down on my son. I can't, and I've tried, and they've done some stuff that caused, like, that would need, like, for
pack
me to
your bags.
Yeah, like that would need me to be like, hey, and I just can't do it. Like, I do it, but it's,
oh my God,
I can't stick to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'll be like, you're grounded for a month, and then the day after, I'm like, here's your cell phone.
Oh God.
Okay, Daddy doesn't like when you do that. Okay,
But me? That's how I grew up. Now I have all boys.
Yeah, you do.
But I was raised by all women because my father wasn't around.
Okay, yeah.
And it was definitely a dictatorship.
Yeah.
It was because I grew up. I love you, mother.
Yeah. She's listening.
My mama slapped me right now. I'm 48. My mama be like, pow. And I tell you, but I love my mama. But my mom, it was basically that. It was, and for me, it was, hey, it is what it is.
Right.
Hey, it's nothing left.
Yeah.
It's what I said. do it.
Yeah.
You know, and I took on that. I understand what you're saying. I took on that not only just in raising my children, even before in previous relationships, and that's another topic.
Yeah.
Right there. Now, I wasn't no beater or nothing like that, but I'm just saying, you know, I just had that Mamba mentality, man.
That black Mamba.
Yeah, man. It was like, you know, this is what it is. And it was learned behavior. And I'm not necessarily knocking it because it kind of made me who I am today.
Yeah.
But it was a little rough. You know, I have, you know, I don't have girls. So I didn't have any girls hit my soft side, my soft spot, and to see them, you know, shrivel at the lip and you know, and yeah, you know, I didn't have that. You know, I had boys, and I was rough on them because that's how I knew my mom, you know, was rough on me. And so it was one sided, you know, because I didn't have an opinion. You know what I mean? You know, if I did, it didn't hold any weight. In my household, in my mom's household, and it's not knocking my mom. You know, they were strong black women. Yeah, you know, and they wasn't gonna let no man or anybody, for that matter, get over them. And so that transferred in the way that I was raised, because my aunts were too. You know, now I had one aunt. I take that back. I had one aunt, my Aunt Shirley. Yeah. And she was just a little bit. She was the one that wasn't that type of, you know, disciplinarian. She was the one that all the kids could go to and talk, because she'd get down on your level. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But for as the authoritarian, man, I relate to that. And it has, it may have some good points, but it got a lot of more, I think, in my opinion, bad points.
Bad points. It does.
And I love the way that you said that I'm not that way, but I know how to put on that robe. Yeah. I know how to put on those clothes when it's time to put it on.
Yeah, because it's situational, man. Like, it really is. At that, there are times with raising children that you do have to have the non-negotiables. You know what I mean? I feel, now this is just a personal opinion of mine, but there are, with raising children, like my oldest daughter right now is 21 years old. I feel with raising children, there are certain situations that just calls for, you know, I always use that term, that sledgehammer. Like, I gotta use that sledgehammer, because here's the crazy thing. When I was growing up, you know, my dad wasn't real disciplinarian, but he was the same way. He would put on that hat when he needed to, you know. Like, if I was ever going to get whooped, yes, I did get whooped back in the day. I would get whoopings. I would prefer to get whoopings from my daddy than my mom. Wow. Okay. Because my dad, there was one thing, he would give me a whooping. It was going to probably be about 4 to 5 licks, and he had perfect aim. He was going to hit you in the same place, and then he was going to talk to you as he did it, so you would get time to recover for the one hit, right? I preferred that versus my mom, because she actually, like, it's almost like she would... It almost like she would rip off a propeller on her head, because she would just go to swing it, and wherever the belt landed is where you got hit. And I'm moving, you know me, I'm moving and jumping all around the room trying not to get hit, and I'm getting hit all across my face. And she would say, and then she would blame me, because she was like, if you stop moving, I'm like, you're hitting me.
Like, move your head. Don't you run from me. Like, I'm going to just stay there and take it. No, Mom.
This is slavery. No. But with that, what I end up learning, I seen 2 different sides of parenting. Yeah. So I seen it from my dad, because he was the one that's going to talk to you. And sometimes that could be even worse. You'd be like, oh my God, I don't want to hear him talk for the next hour and a half, dude. Like, but, you know, I find myself doing the exact same thing now.
But you know what? That falls into the authoritative parenting. Because when I was reading that, it said that the authoritative parenting was, and I took me some notes. So it says they are reasonable and nurturing, and set high, clear expectation. So it's like a blend of caring tone with structure and consistent limit setting. It says also that this style is thought to be the most beneficial to children. Children with parents who demonstrate this style tend to be self-disciplined and think for themselves. Right. So basically, it's saying, hey, the disciplinary rules, they're clear. The reasons behind them are explained.
Yeah.
Communication is frequent.
Yep.
And appropriate to the level of the child's understanding.
Right.
And and it says expectations and goals are high but stated clearly. So I think, man, I think your mom and dad probably had a good balance. I would say.
Right.
Especially your dad,
Yeah.
because switching on those type of parenting style. Because it was, man, I'm telling you, that first one, the authoritarian, it caused me a lot of headache, man. It caused my children, and I'm just being transparent right now.
Yeah.
At one point, my children, they did not like me.
Okay.
Because of the way I talk to them. And that's why I say, we named this, communication is the key.
Yeah.
My tone was just so militant. And that's kind of almost like my personality. If you don't know me, I'm a direct person.
Yes.
And I have been dealing with how I say things, because a lot of times when we learn that it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Right.
And so I've had to learn, and I've softened up a whole bunch. I'm nowhere near like that now.
That is true.
But yeah, you know me. But I'm still direct, even in my job. I manage officers, and when it comes down to details and instructions, it's straightforward. It's no negotiable.
Yeah.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
But I had that situation that learned behavior brought over to my children. I'm not even thinking in my mind that, mom used to do that, and it used to, my mom, even though she was strict, I thank her for that now.
Right.
But at the time, I can understand why my kids weren't, more accepting of that. With this day and age. So it kind of turned my kids against me. If I had to be transparent about that, I had to go back and do damage control later, because they didn't, it kept them from talking to me about things that, should have been communicated to me. They went elsewhere, and that's one thing about it. If your kids can't talk to you, they're going to go talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
And whether it's an adult, or 9 times out of 10, it's their friends or somebody else that don't have no knowledge. Just as dumb as they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But they will believe anything somebody else says over you.
Exactly.
And you've had you're the ones being a provider for them.
Absolutely.
And that knowledge. But I had to learn from that. I had to switch from that to the authoritarian role.
Yeah. And let me say this too, man. With me, I learned to also kind of to not to debate that, but sometimes it depends on the child that you're talking to. It's just gonna be 100 with you. It's cool. I have 4 children, and all 4 I have to talk to differently. I have children, man, who don't get the point unless I'm in that authoritarian mode, if I talk to them all soft and sweet, they'll run straight smack dab over you. They be like, got it, Is
that I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Is that the girls or is that the son? Because you got 3 girls and 1 son.
But even I'm talking about out of my girls, my son is at the age. He's at the age now at 18 where now I don't have to come at him as hard, because he's starting to figure out, oh yeah, everything that dad has been telling me has been true. You know what I mean? It's hard out here. It's not easy. Every decision you make has a counteract to it. So you can make good or bad decisions. All decisions have repercussions, good or bad.
Yeah,
okay.
That's true.
And he's beginning to understand that. So now he's maturing to that age where we're having the conversations as men instead of, even though it's still father and son, now it's starting to have that conversation as men. But for my daughters, again, with the 3 of them, all 3 have 3 different personalities. So all 3, you have to learn how to say the same thing 3 different ways. You have to learn to say the same thing 3 different ways, man. And so there's some who I have to jump into that authoritative mode. Then there's others that the minute I jump into that, they break down, and then there's one that I kind of balance on the teeter-totter, because depending on the mood at that time, and what the situation is, and so it for me, you gotta be able to play double. I mean, you gotta learn how to double dutch.
well, yeah, you do, because I mean, you brought up a great point, and what I got out of that is, hey, you can't manage every child the same,
right?
Because they do harness different personalities.
Right.
On a previous episode, Are We Expecting Too Much? That was my first season. I did that with Marie Littlefield.
Okay, yeah.
It was we talked about that. We talked about that. We talked about the different styles, and every child is not the same. So I can relate to what you're saying, because I found that out quick. In that the authoritarian position. It didn't work. It worked for one. Because I have one that says, Daddy, I like it straightforward and keep it real. I don't like to cut no corners, because I got fake friends that do that. And Daddy, I don't like that. And then I got one over here, he won't say nothing. He just harbor his feelings. Right. He ain't just soft, but I mean, he carry a lot on his, my son, he like it straight raw on one, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Still, my tone is very important, and it still causes friction between the two, between all of us, you know what I mean? So that's great. I'm gonna stop it right here. We're gonna take a commercial break. We're gonna deal with more of the authoritative position, because those two are different. Again, we said the authoritarian is there's no room for negotiation, but the authoritative parenting style, there's explanations, and it's more nurturing. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to get into the last one after these commercial announcements.
Hey, it's Trey North, and I want to personally thank you for supporting the Next 15 podcast show. We are now available on your favorite digital platform. Don't forget to check out the all-new redesigned website, next15podcast.com, where you can listen to seasons 1 and 2 episodes. You can also check out the hot new inspirational blog written by my awesome mom, Stella B. North. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my website for exclusive news, content, and future promos. Again, thank you for your support, and enjoy the rest of the podcast.
You're listening live to the Next 15 podcast show with Trey North on Spreaker.com. And we're back with the Next 15 podcast show. This is Trey North with guest co-hosts. I don't know if I say guest co-host because he's been here forever for the whole 2 seasons, but Chris McAllister. And we're back talking about family matters, and communication is the key. And we were discussing the different styles of parenting. We just got through talking about the authoritarian parenting side. And we kind of went in a little bit on the authoritative parenting style. But let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about how, because you said your dad was mostly on this side of the parenting.
And now I find myself on this side also. Now my wife is still a little bit more strict, and because we have that balance, and again, I think it's because we have more girls than boys, and she feels like her job is to keep them on the straight and narrow. For me as a father, one thing I've always wanted, which I got with my father, was that opportunity to communicate. Like, I felt like I could go to my dad and tell him whatever, if I had I hate to say this, if I had a dead body in the truck, I would go to my dad and be like, hey, Dad, I know this might not be good, and you might not be happy, but I got to tell you something. My dad was the one that I could come to and talk to, and he used to always say, I might not like everything you say, but I always want to be the first one you tell, and so I felt the same way for my children, man. And so I'm at the point right now with, I'm on that same spectrum where I want my daughters to be able to come to me and tell me anything, and which they do. Now
that's good.
My oldest daughter, bro, she's my right hand, like she's my right hand lady. She come and tell me everything, and I be like, I don't need to know that, girl. But she don't. I mean, she don't hold back on me. I mean, if it's boyfriends, if it's situations that's going on in school. Now she's in college and work. She comes to me. I mean, and she talks to her mom too. I don't want to say she don't never talk to her mom, but I know that she'll come to me and talk to me, and because she knows I'm not going to immediately react. I'm going to listen to her.
Yeah.
I'm going to hear her, side of the story or whatever may have you. And then I might be like, well, hey, I might play devil's advocate, and come at it a different way. But my job is, as a father, is to get you to see it from all realms. You know what I mean? And I feel like that style of parenting, again, makes the child think for themselves. So when, the day that I'm not here or they can't get to me, they're able to think through, I always say, think themselves out of a box.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I had to teach myself to be that type of parent. I'm that type of parent now, but I wasn't then.
I got you.
It took me, and to be honest, it took Jesus.
Yes, yes. That's what it takes. Absolutely.
It really did. And, not trying to be super spiritual about it or anything like that, but I'm just being very honest. It took God doing a change in my life, changing me. Because I couldn't see me.
Right.
I couldn't, and therefore I couldn't deal with me on that level.
Yeah.
Once I began to see that, and then, I had other people to show me, that, and I looked at other people. You got and one of our buddies, Myron, how gentle he is with his girls and his stepchildren. I had to look at that and go, whoa, I know as far as friendship with you and the rest of the circle, you guys accept me for who I am.
Correct.
You understand that, I might say it direct, but I don't,
you don't mean no harm. I don't mean no harm.
Yeah. But kids, they don't see it that way because I'm their father.
Yeah.
I'm their parent. So if I'm coming down like that, it kind of almost like I'm down talking to them or you know what I mean? And I'm disrespecting them,
Right.
And so I had to learn that. And the moment I caught that was the moment I cried. I'm not gonna lie. I really shared tears and I was like, whoa, I gotta fix this because I don't want my kids growing up hating me. And then especially they're getting older.
Yeah.
And I had to go back and apologize to them for the way I talked to them. I gave them my reason. I let them know it was learned behavior. I thought I was doing the right thing.
Right.
But I come to realize that no, I should have done it this way.
Right.
Now moving forward, I can't go back in the past and undo that.
Yeah.
But now we can move forward.
Yeah.
Now I want you to be able to trust me and talk to me. And knowing that I'm not gonna fly off the handle.
Yeah.
And it has been, I can say, the last 4 to 5 years, it's been just that.
Yeah.
My children and I have a better relationship.
Good.
I have a soon to be 21-year-old and I have a 19-year-old, about to be 19-year-old. And one has a son. So I definitely don't want my children mad at me, and I can't even talk to my grandchildren.
Right.
So
So would you like us to call you Peepaw or Pawpaw or
none of those, bro.
I'm
too young looking for that.
Yeah, touche. You do have the case of the Benjamin, bro.
Benjamin Buttons. But no, man. And now, my youngest, he talks to me, and just imagine what that kind of did to them. You know what I'm saying? And I don't need a pity party or anything like that.
Yeah.
Don't feel sorry for me, but I'm just saying, it's just something I had to learn because, at the end of the day, they have their own mindset. They're and with boys, they're men, they're maturing. But I mean, man, literally, my tone was just so offensive. Bro.
Yeah.
And that's not the way, especially when you're trying. Our kids, man, kids today deal with so much stuff, man.
Yes.
I mean, bullying.
Yeah.
I mean, they see so much stuff out there, and if they can't come to you, then they're gonna go out there somewhere else for information. They're gonna outsource their information, whether it be the internet or it be their friends, and they're so easily influenced,
Right.
And my thing is, man, I want us to be a tight unit. You know what I'm saying? I want you to be able to come to me and talk to me because I'm the one that's feeding you. I'm the one that's clothed you and put a roof over your head.
Yeah.
Like our game, our clique should be tight, tighter than any other. I understand that you got your outside friends and all of that. That's cool. But this right here, this is the unit because friends, dime a dozen, bruh. When somebody gonna double cross you, somebody gonna stab you in the back.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Me, I'm still here.
Exactly.
Regardless, when you need money, when you need food, when you need clothes, you know what I'm saying? I'm
here.
Yeah, I'm here. And that's another episode, in itself, the loyalty game.
Oh, yeah.
Because, go ahead.
It's so crazy. Like what you just said was, again, more is caught than taught. Especially when you have children living in the house, like you can tell them all day, what to do and all that good stuff and be authoritative, but they're going to see how you act. And so they'll catch up and pick up what you do. And then, like you always say, I don't never want to grow up and be like my parents. And then you get older and you find out that you are exactly like, I find myself, as when I first got married or having children, I had children, I as much as I said I didn't want to be like my mom, I was absolutely, positively just like her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it came to, my way or the highway, bro, I'm not negotiating with no child. I'm not telling, I ain't gotta tell no child. You know what I'm saying? Like, the reason why you washing dishes is because I said wash dishes. I don't have to explain to you why you gotta mop the floor. And matter of fact, you do it when I tell you to do it, how I do it. And if it ain't done the way I tell you to do it, I'm gonna put all the dishes that you said that you washed back in the sink and gonna make you do it again. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was me. And so, and they were young. I'm not gonna lie to you. They were young. And I'm like, don't you ever, get me to the point where I have to be authoritative. Yeah. But as I got older, the conversations began to, and they came to me. That's what broke me too. It was Jesus, but it was also the come to Jesus meeting. My girls came to me one day and says, hey, you know what? We don't like, not what you say, how you say it. We don't like how you say what you say to us. And I had to step back and be like, kind of like you. I had to step back and say, oh, okay, And as I began to rehearse how I was talking to him, I was like, yeah, you're right. That was, I ain't gonna lie, I'm a name caller. I'm like, get your bucket head.
I be roasting my kids too.
I would call my kids names and everything like that. And we came from an era where that was just funny. That's what we did, growing up. And so
and their insecurities
exactly.
And be like, oh, did I really say that they were
exactly
charcoal faced?
Yes, sir. And so I was calling them names and not knowing that the name calling I was saying to them was giving them, it was causing issues. You see what I'm saying? And in their psyche. And so when they begin to talk to me about it, and they got old enough to, I thank God that they had the fortitude to come and say, hey, we don't like this, and they came to me without their mama. They came as a united front, and I was like, okay.
Oh, you got scared, in other words, they about to jump you.
I was like, okay, let me back up real quick, because I got this right hook for anybody. I'm just playing people, never would I do that. But they came to me and, literally it was to the point where when they came to me, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It really did. And I, we had a crying, party, and from that day is when it changed. And kind of the rest is history at that point. Now for my son, again, we went through it until a light bulb went off into his head. Was like, hey, because sometimes boys are just defiant. Some, not all, but sometimes boys are just defiant because that's who they are. And my son, not in a bad way, but he's defiant in a good way. Like he's the kind of dude that will, I don't want to say he's like, I hate the establishment. That's not him, but there's just certain things that he had to go out and figure out for himself. Like you have to see it for yourself. Like I said, your friends ain't gonna always be there. Well, some friends turned on you. Now he's like, oh, you're right. Everybody that say that's for you aren't really for you.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we find that out as adults.
Absolutely.
Our mom told us the same thing. Isn't it funny how, history repeats itself?
Yes.
I wish we had some women on the show right now, because I just, and we're going to go to a commercial break, but I just want to say this point right here. I find it that women are much more softer.
Right.
I mean, I've witnessed, women telling their kids to do something over and over and over. And I'm looking at them like, didn't she just tell you to, and at that point then I was like, I'm ready to snatch him up and he ain't even mine. Right, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, yo, mom, You don't get your Krispy Kreme.
Toucan saying,
Yeah. Your mama say, you don't disrespect your mama. You know, I'll be in the doctor's office somewhere and I see a kid on the floor. I'm like, you don't you know what I want to say.
right. You get your Charlie Whistler.
You know what I'm saying? You get your Charlie Brown, zip up the back of head off the floor. But anyway, man, I definitely think that's probably, you know, and having a balance, especially when you're co-parenting.
Yeah.
That balance is good. Listen, we're going to take a commercial break. We're going to wrap it up with the last style of parenting.
Yes.
And then do our final thoughts and see how this all pans out.
Yeah.
I guess. All right. This is Trey North with the Next 15. We'll be right back after these messages. Do you love sporting that bald and bearded look? Looking for apparel to match that clean and fresh look too? Then head over to baldbeardedblessed.com and check out the hottest t-shirts for every occasion. Whether you're lounging at home, working out, or hanging out having fun with friends, nothing expresses who you are like your look. Bald, Bearded, and Blessed has the shirt you're looking for. They have a variety of styles and colors for both men and women in size ranging from small to 4XL. Get your Bald, Bearded, and Blessed apparel today at baldbeardedblessed.com and enter code the next 15 in the promo section of the cart and get 15% off your order just for being a loyal listener. Follow them at Bald Bearded Blessed on both Instagram and Facebook platforms and on Twitter at Bearded Blessed, or email them at baldbeardedblessed@gmail.com. Bald Bearded and Blessed is the apparel brand that expresses confidence and boldness for those who love the bald and bearded look in every facet of life. Welcome back to the Next 15 podcast show. And we are coming back with the topic of family matters.
Yes.
Communication is the key.
Yeah.
Talking about the styles of parenting and how it affects our raising our communication with our children.
Yeah.
And we went over the first two, the authoritarian and the authoritative parenting style.
Yeah.
And the last one, which probably none of the listeners are going to agree with, I don't know, we might have some,
might
though,
have some. Yeah.
Is the permissive parenting.
Yeah.
And this would be the permissive or indulgent parents that mostly let their children do what they want. We kind of was talking about that before the commercial break.
The buddy system.
Yeah. They offer limited guidance or direction. They're more like friends than parents. And I've seen that.
Yes, sir. I have
personally. It says here their discipline style is the opposite of strict. They have limited or no rules and mostly let children figure problems out on their own. The communication is open, but these parents let children decide for themselves rather than giving direction.
Yeah.
Ooh. We're going to talk into that.
Yes, sir.
And let me get the last 2 points. Parents in this category tend to be warm and nurturing.
Yeah.
The expectations are typically minimum and not set by these parents.
Okay.
Let's talk about the one where it says communication is open, but these parents let children decide for themselves rather than giving direction.
Gotcha.
Ooh, that's
heavy, man.
Yeah.
That's heavy. I mean, I know a couple of individuals like that, and you know that have raised their children in that manner, and it's tricky. It's tricky because that can definitely blow up in your face.
I agree.
That can definitely blow up in your face. Now again, I don't want nobody to talk crazy to their kids, but you can't let them make every decision as they're growing up. You cannot do that.
How can you be their friends and their parent?
You can't.
I mean, I think, and when maybe once they're older, that can stand true.
True, yes.
Because now they're older and they're going to do whatever they want to do,
Right.
And make their own decisions.
And when I say older, out my house.
Yeah,
older.
yeah. Well, that's where I was going. Touche. Out my house older, because I mean, to me, you gotta give them directions. You know, I was once told, children are like arrows. You gotta point them in the right direction.
Yeah.
And so, without, it's almost like in our field. We manage people.
Yes.
There's no way I can be buddy and manage you.
Yes.
Because now I'm not going to be able to tell you something unless
Right.
you have that level of maturity.
Yes.
And let's just be honest. children at that age or at a young age don't have the level of maturity to go, hey, this is my mom or dad and my best friend. You only hear that when they're older, like you said, and out of the house.
Yes.
My mom is my best friend. Then, because then your mom or your dad has given you all of the parenting skills that they can give you.
Yes.
I mean, to the degree now you make your own decision. They still have the examples, or they're still there for you to help you. But at the end of the day, the decisions you make now are yours, and the consequences come with that are yours as well.
Absolutely. And I totally agree. And so, again, that's what I say. It's very tricky because when you have these, you know what, listen, I'm going to go back. There was one time I seen this one lady, and she had a son, and I don't know them whatsoever, but when we brought this up, that's the first thing that hit me was we were getting on an airplane on our way to Vegas, and she had her son sitting beside her, and she had the aisle seat, and the son was sitting right beside her, and the child would get up, turn around, and I would say he had to be at least 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that area, and he just she would not tell him to sit down, dude, we are trying to get ready to take off. Tell your son to turn around, sit down, and shut up.
I do.
And she wouldn't do it. And she thought it was She thought it was cute.
Oh,
Everybody else on the plane wanted to literally sit this kid down themselves.
Yeah.
But we couldn't say anything because it's not our child. And literally, that was the worst flight to Vegas. Because she would not. He would have these outbursts, and she wouldn't correct anything.
Oh, that would drive me bananas.
She wouldn't correct anything, not even in a nice way. She wouldn't say, "Hey Billy, hey Johnny, hey Bobby, don't do that." She said nothing, and I have never been more mad at an adult. I was like, "What are you doing?" That's why you're single.
Ladies,
I didn't know.
Sidebar.
I didn't know
if you're a permissible parent, single parent looking for a man. It's probably not going to work if your kids are bad.
Yeah.
Shouldn't say that, but hey, I'm serious because
that's what especially me. I know this is a topic for another day.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, no man is wanting to walk into any situation and have to be super dad. He just absolutely not.
I second that, bro. I second that right now.
And that's across racial barrier lines.
Yep.
No man.
You got it.
No man wants to have that. No, absolutely not. And vice versa. Don't no woman want to come into a situation where a man doesn't have a handle on his children. No woman wants to be that. No woman wants to be that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I think that also sets the tone for a child to feel entitled. When
That's good. Yeah.
When you have a permissible parent, because my mom didn't correct me. You sure not going to correct me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if I got away with it with my parents, and this is how I was raised, I'm going to take this mentality out here in the real world, which you're going to get clapped back on.
Right.
Oh
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? and hopefully, and I'm not trying to bash any parents that are that type of parent.
Yeah.
But I'm just letting you know. And these days and age,
right,
these kids feel entitled. And when you don't have some type of direction and a hand on your child, they're gonna come out here to the real world and they're gonna get the business.
Right. And find out they're gonna come out in the real world and find out that entitlement has nothing to do with the title,
Yeah.
Because the ones with the title are the ones that are making the rules.
I just feel like that's a big problem right now.
Yeah.
With our generation, and parents, they have lost the grip on parenting, and they're so concerned of being liked by your children, or by their child, or children, to the degree that they'll try to party with them.
Yeah.
do everything with them,
Yeah.
to be their friends.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and I'm not saying that can't be successful. I'm not saying that can't work for some households, but I just in my mind I can't see myself, you know.
Yeah, I see
Putting myself on the same level as my children.
child.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I see it on social media all the time, man, where ladies and some guys, not all guys, I don't see a lot of guys, but some ladies, you know, you and your mama going clubbing together.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, like, I mean, I see me and my wife seen that the other, I kid you not, man.
Nah, bro.
Like me and my wife was looking at that, you know, and some lady it was her and her mom, and there was at some kind of club, and I'm like, now I get it if y'all were on vacation and y'all, you know what I'm saying, with your mom and your dad or your family or whatever, y'all go out to a nice, whatever event or something like that. But they just heard her mom in a club and they do this all the time. And as we were kind of going through their feed, I was like, they club hopping. With
I'm
her
sorry,
mom. Like, that's what they doing. They club hopping with their mama.
Nah, bro.
I'm like, come on, man. Like, I mean, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. First of all, I couldn't do it with my son because he gonna get mad at me because I'm a baller. Second of all,
Like, hey, son, that girl you got is kind of fine. I think I'll take that.
I was like, I come from a different generation where you had to actually use words.
Yeah,
you know?
right. A mouthpiece.
Yeah,
You have none, son.
You're right. You actually have to talk. You know, and I told my son one time. I know this is off topic. I told my son one time. I was like, I said, you can't. I said, if your job is to bring somebody in this house better than your mom, if you can't do that, then you have lost this battle between me and you. I will always be the alpha male. I'm sorry, that was just hilarious. But anyway, but yeah, man, I seen, you know, people are trying to, like you said, being friends. Listen, I don't want to be my kids' friends. I want to be my kids' parents. I want to be somebody that they look up to, that they admire and that they respect, and that they know that if they need guidance,
Right.
if they need guidance, they know who to turn to. Yeah. It don't mean I will always have. It don't mean that me and my wife will always have the answers. It means that they respect us enough to know where to turn in regards to knowing where they need to get the right information, and that doesn't come from a friend in that manner. You know what I mean? Like I go to a friend. I go to my friend to understand my plight. You know what I mean? But I don't go to my friends sometimes to always get the answer. You know, I go to somebody that's been there and done that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's rode that was in that rodeo.
Exactly.
Yeah, that rode that horse, that Bronco.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, you want to learn how to drive, get a driving instructor, not a friend. You see what I'm saying? Like but yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very good topic, man. I think well worth a part 2. I want to see, and we're gonna see if we can get a part 2 out of this. I want to get a part 2 out of this.
Yeah, that gotta be.
I gotta have a lady's opinion, man, a woman's opinion, because I know we can be alpha male sometimes.
Yes.
But yeah. Wow, look at the time, bro. I think this might be the longest podcast I've ever had.
Oh, wow. My
like
bad.
52 minutes. No, our bad. Oh, God, it's my show.
Yo, yeah.
Do what I want. I say that every time. It's my show and I'll do what I want. No, man. Final thoughts? Any final thoughts?
Dude, this, you know, I will say this has been a great topic podcast, man. This really, when you're talking about family matters, because at the end of the day, family does matter. And not to get real biblical, but the Bible centers around family. And I think that if we're going to change anything, especially in this nation, is that we got to start looking back at the families, because the family, the household, there was a household before there was a church. I always remember that. And so the family is what matters. And if we can get our families together, we can change whatever we need to change.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think once we find our parenting styles, it's great for strategic planning, or strategic parenting.
Yeah.
It's going to help drive the child's environment.
Absolutely.
But I just feel like we all have to have that balance. We have to know, like you said in the beginning of the show, what suit to put on.
Yeah.
You know, and that only comes from learning your children, paying attention to your children. You know, because like you said, we cannot always talk to our children the same way. You know what I'm saying? You know, one child receives a different way from another.
Yes.
So I think once we understand which suit to put on at the right time, then I think we can reach our children. It's very important because in this day and age, man, our kids, you know, you have kids that are great kids and somehow they go down the wrong path.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say it's all our fault as parents because you can do all you can do.
Yeah.
And as a child, they're still going to make their own decisions and they're going to still have to deal with their own consequences. But at least we can say to ourselves, we've done everything that we, you know, could have done.
Yes.
And it's on them at that point.
Right.
So I think it's very important how we do communicate with our children and to have an open mind.
Right.
They have their own mind. They should be able to have an opinion.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you have to be that type of permissible parent where just because it's their opinion, then they can have that freedom.
Yeah, it overthrows yours.
Yeah, it overthrows yours, right. But there has to be a balance. There has to be some type of structure in the household or, you know, or this could be something very detrimental.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great topic, man. Hey, listen, you guys, if you have anything to add for this particular show, send me your comments. You can do this. You can email me at next15podcast@gmail. You can do your voice recordings. Set on your recorder. Make sure the quality is good. We'll play your clips on the next show. Just want to thank you so much, man, Chris, for being a part of the show, man. You always give great advice, great feedback, and I want to just thank the listeners for joining in today and taking the time. I know this is about an hour that you'll probably never get back of your life, but I hope this has inspired you and have maybe in some way educated you as far as communicating with your children and just like you said, family matters because it really do. Yeah. Well, listen, that wraps it up for the Next 15 podcast show. Catch us next week. We're going to try to do a part 2. If you like this episode, please share it with your friends. Share it on your Facebook or your social media platforms. If you want to follow us, you can follow us at Next 15 Podcast on both Instagram and Facebook platforms. You can also catch us on www.next15podcast.com. Brand new website. You can catch all the episodes there. We have an amazing blog also by my mother, Stella B. North. So we got some great stuff heading for the Next 15, and we want you to be a part of it. And you can find out also new exclusive news and things before anybody else by subscribing there right on the webpage. So if you just go at the top of the webpage, hit subscribe, it'll take you to the subscribe page and type in your email, and you can get all the exclusive news and all the stuff that's coming down the pike before anybody else does. Real quick, man, I just want to say thank you again, Chris McAllister, who is the pastor of Life Changers Church right here in Austin, Texas.
Yes, sir.
You want to plug that?
Oh, yes, sir. Listen, guys, I know right now we are not able to meet at our location, but you can still catch us online every Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. You can catch us on our website that we do live streaming at www.lifechangersaustin.com. You can also go to our Facebook page at LCC Austin or our Instagram at LCC Austin also. And again, listen, God is still doing something big in this city and in our lives. Don't let COVID-19 make you believe anything different. Sometimes the devil likes to use mass or weapons of distraction. Always remember that. But God is doing something great.
Man, great, man. That is awesome. Well said, my brother. Well said. Listen, that wraps it up. Guess what, guys? We'll see you on the Next 15.